All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, the great millstone, who teach and rule well. And peace, love, and salutations to the Akim that's out there laboring, that's up the hopeful elect, that's doing this work in truth and sincerity. And I want to have a quick discussion concerning secret disciple or controlled opposition. And I'm speaking about pretty much Candace Owens, which a lot of her content is being used for edification's sake. You know, a lot of truth is coming out, you know, that she's bringing out against the powers that be, you know, and I have a few video clips that I want to pretty much put out there. But this right here, we have to get the backstory of why all of this information is coming out via Candace Owens doing her pretty much her investigative journalism, so to speak. Okay, so the backstory pretty much goes back to when she was working for the Daily Wire. Okay, now she's gonna reveal the pretty much the breaking point of when she got fired from the Daily Wire, which was pretty much just recently, I would say about a year and a half ago. Okay, now she unknowingly had handlers. Okay, now she's gonna speak about this real quick, and pretty much Jimmy Dore, which is another content creator, pretty much a podcaster, whose material is always being used, pretty much could vouch for a lot of the things that are really being exposed by the powers that be. Okay, but real quick before I do play this video concerning Candace Owens, is pretty much, does she have the true understanding of any of the scriptures that she's speaking about? No, she doesn't have any type of understanding of that, because first of all, she's a so-called Christian, so-called Catholic. Okay, so pretty much, she's, that's not her strong suit to be even speaking about anything concerning the scriptures, and her platform is not a faith-based platform to begin with. She is pretty much, what I can sum it up through the spirit is, she's earnestly naive. Candace Owens is earnestly naive, but a quick learner. Okay, all right. Is she a babbler? Yes, but she goes down many rabbit holes and search for truth. And that's pretty much what you have to do as being a pure investigative journalist. Okay, and pretty much that's what she pretty much went to school for, and she's exercising that. Pretty much she had a falling out with Daily Wire, and pretty much that is a Zionist movement, a Zionist platform, and I just sum it up as her trying to find her way, because at the end of the day, she just recently got into politics, pretty much back in 2016, I believe. Okay, so she's pretty much been taking her bumps and bruises, and well, let me just play this video, and then we're going to get some more context about the gist of this video. So without any further ado,
believe, and I'm saying this retrospectively, that from that moment onward, Charlie and I were assigned handlers. Okay, this is an expression that Kanye used to say, have a handler. I thought that he was just saying that. I thought that he was referring to just Hollywood. I now very much believe that I have had handlers since 2018, and that things were done intentionally to pull me and Charlie apart. Now, I'm going to tell you how I remember it in no particular order, okay? I tweeted back at Kanye and I said, please take a meeting with us. And before I could hear directly from Kanye's people, I heard from David Horowitz. You should also know that he is the father to Andreessen Horowitz, the one that Bibi Netanyahu is insisting should, or stepfather to. He wants Andreessen Horowitz to be a part of this group that buys TikTok.
TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through, because it can be consequential.
At the time, Charlie and I, we were pro-Israel. That's, I think, kind of relevant. And we were just so amazed by the tweet that we thought all of these people, like, this was just our moment, as in they really did just want to help. Another player in this was Rick Rubin. Yeah, the big music industry. Rick Rubin also got into the mix and wanted to facilitate certain meetings. I took it again as a sign of help. And it feels like at every moment there were forces that were trying to tell us this is not allowed to happen. Someone, and I believe it was someone at BuzzFeed, cut a clip. Again, I was green, so I didn't understand why suddenly they were sharing a clip and they were saying that I was justifying Hitler, Adolf Hitler, killing Jews. It was heavy. It was it was so heavy. And I laugh in retrospect because I thought it was all real. I didn't realize this was a matrix of people who wanted to pull me and Charlie apart. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to put pressure on him. And this amazing thing happened that despite this, that the hand that came out to me and offered me a job was PragerU. PragerU offered me a job. This is early 2019. And it was like, hey, like, we know that you don't believe these things. And at the time, I thought they were just being friends. I don't know what to think anymore. Marissa Straight, the CEO, has never shied from telling people that she is, in the IDF. She worked intelligence in the IDF, right, in Israel. Almost the way it feels to me was like, we can save you, but here's what you have to do, was Marissa took me to the Simon Wiesenthal Center. And again, I was so grateful. I was like, who do I have to say sorry to so that they know that I don't hate Jews? This is what happened. I'm telling you, this is what happened in 2019. And there was like some chief rabbi looking character, and him and her spoke in Hebrew. I didn't understand a word of what was said in front of me. And then we left and everything was fine. My reputation was restored temporarily. I believe, and I am saying this
So pretty much,
respectively.
Jimmy Dore pretty much goes a little bit more deeper into it though, but she pretty much had an interview with Jimmy Dore a few months back, and she didn't understand that she had handlers, and her being best friends, good friends with Kanye West, was always trying to warn her about this. Okay, and this is why I say that she is earnestly naive. Okay, but she soon realized once she got fired from Daily Wire. Okay, you see. Because of her stance on Israel. Now, when you have to understand about how controlled opposition works, is that the one major rule is that you have to be a strong supporter of Israel to be a controlled opposition. Because like the whole thing with her, with Charlie Kirk, and her trying to find out the murderer of Charlie Kirk, pretty much, he danced with the devil. Okay, he took the deal with these billionaire donors and corporations and these shell companies. Okay, that were pretty much was funding the organization that Charlie Kirk founded, which was by the name of Turning Point USA. Okay, where she had worked at as well. You see. But now what happened was the pretty much the separation between her and Charlie Kirk initially was because she seen how they were being manipulated, and pretty much because he changed his stance on Israel as well. Okay, and this is why she believes that he is no longer here. Okay, now Charlie Kirk is no by stretching imagination any type of saint or anything else like that. He had the his rhetoric was pretty much of that of the everyday Joe Schmo Edomite perception of things. Pseudoscience, pretty much statistical racism. Okay, you see, all right. Mediocre Edomites was pretty much where he was to have a stronghold on millennials and Gen X's. And what happened was that the Zionists wanted to infiltrate his organization because they needed to have that influence, okay, as long as they were supportive of Israel, okay, in their talking points, you see. And then once the whole thing with Gaza went down, okay, she had pretty much differences with how it was handled, as well as he was having thoughts about how things were handled in his position. Okay, now with her, she get fired from Daily Wire, all right, and her old page, which was linked to Daily Wire, pretty much quickly received 3 strikes and pretty much got eliminated. Okay, so now she built up her own brand with this channel that she has here now. This channel that she has here now is only about a year and a half old. Okay, and pretty much already has 6 million subscribers. And what she is doing investigative journalism, okay? And what the no-no is in the real world is that you cannot ask questions, okay? You see? But a real investigative journalist will ask questions. They will continue to ask questions. This is the same reason why Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox, okay? Because he started questioning a lot of the things and a lot of the policies that were going on, okay? So once you get unplugged from corporate influence and corporate donors, okay, right? Fox being a corporate corporation, okay, which you can't say whatever you want to say, okay. You see, so this is why Tucker got fired from his job and pretty much ended up moving up into the woods in Maine and does his podcast from there. You see, all right, and this individual here, Candace Owens, she pretty much has been going in on the small hats, and that's the one thing that a small hat is not going to do. They are not going to fund anybody talking negatively about anything that they do or any type of influences they have negatively. Okay, they're not gonna spend their hard, their deviously earned shekels at bad publicity. Okay, but what in turn they would do is they would do a situation where, pull it up real quick. This is a Jimmy Dore show. All right, I'm gonna play this clip. And it says a coordinated smear job exposed. Okay? Now, this is from the Jimmy Dore show, and Jimmy Dore doesn't pull no punches. Okay? He tells it straight as it is. He pretty much has a lot of content where he pretty much endorses a lot of the content that she has put down. But you got to understand something about this woman is that she single-handedly took down an organization, okay? All right? As we're currently speaking of, that was headed by Charlie Kirk, okay, and now pretty much headed by his wife, okay, and exposing, okay, the so-called assassination that had happened, okay. Now, when you want to talk about the FBI version of it, okay, is pretty much losing a lot of its influence because of her, her investigative journalism, okay, and pretty much, the narrative that they all want you to believe is that it was done by who they said did it, and they ultimately were going to blame the so-called left for this whole thing, and ultimately try to Joe Jake up in there. Okay, Jake was going to be pretty much going to be trying to be thrown in that situation concerning this man. Okay, you see, all right. But now the tide has changed, and it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai that this ultimately, turned the tide of them trying to pretty much, have the narration going in that manner. Okay. Now, ultimately, we are going to be blamed, for this ministry at the end of the day, but okay, not in the fashion of way they tried to craft it. You see, all right, but let's go to scripture real quick. I'm gonna play this clip thereafter. Let's get Luke. Let's see. Luke chapter 12, verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. You see, okay, and pretty much, this is what's happening. Okay, all right, but like I said, though, she is in no fashion or way, some type of magical person that's but she is being used through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua to expose the powers that be, okay, about the inner workings of what's going on. And as she's digging deeper, okay, with her inquisition, it's being also revealed that Erica Kirk was pretty much allegedly part of a sex trafficking ring, okay. So a lot of these things are pretty much are being exposed, man. And when you talk about controlled opposition, people like Alex Jones is a controlled opposition. Controlled opposition is usually in a safe space, Okay, I think through the spirit that her life is pretty much really in danger, man. Okay, for a lot of the exposure that she's doing. Okay, and Alex Jones pretty much is really of no value. He doesn't even get value for the chip because that interview that he had with Alan Russo was the one that exposed it on his show. Okay, which he was not supposed to do that. But all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, it was revealed about the elite's plan about that C-hip. Okay, all right. So we use that always as a point of reference on that interview. Okay, and pretty much that clip is always up and available. It's not being taken down. It's always available through the spirit. You see, okay. So Alex Jones does not get credit for that. Okay, it was revealed on his show. Okay. But the ultimate revealing came from Alan Russo, okay? All right, who exposed their plans, you see, which he was not supposed to have done. And this is why he pretty much got deleted, okay? You see? All right? So the main thing is that for you to be a supporter of Israel, that's controlled opposition, okay? Because you get personal donors and everything else, okay? All right? So pretty much let's play this quick clip from Jimmy Dore's show. Okay, and let's talk about it on the other side.
The Hodge twins tweet out, they all got the same memo today to call real Candace Owens a demon. I'm convinced Candace Owens is a demon. Candace is a demon. I'm not sure if Candace Owens is merely a demon. Candace Owens is a demon from the pit of hell. I hope they all have to split just the one $7,000 check.
So and that's what's happening right now is that the powers that be, these billionaire influencers and donors, were giving influencers $7,000 per tweet or for talking negatively towards Candace Owens, okay, and Tucker Carlson. You see, okay, because right now they're the only ones that are doing investigative journalism right now. Okay, because they're asking questions. You see, they're not going along to get along. Okay, so their status has to be pretty much updated, man. Okay, as far as them being, for searching for truth. Okay, the whole thing with him being detained in Israel. Speaking about Tucker, I believe through the spirit that was a true story. You see, because he's poking and trying to get to the bottom of things, okay? And he also is earnestly naive as well, okay? This is individual, I'm going to speak about him probably in another video, but speaking about this right here, that was the ongoing thing where $7,000 was given to anybody to speak negatively about her, okay? That's controlled opposition, okay? When you're being influenced to say certain things, you see? All right, so let's continue.
Candace Owens dropped a promo for the new series she's going to do, exposing who Erica Kirk really is. And if you've looked into anything about Erica Kirk's past, it reads like it directly from a psyop created by the CIA. So let's watch her. This is the promo she dropped.
President Trump says that Kirk has died after he was shot from a nearby building after being shot at Utah Valley University. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead.
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye. That young man, I forgive him.
Take your time.
Take your time.
Erica Kirk has been named the new CEO of Turning Point USA.
My husband's dead. I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead. It's weird to say excited.
Describes her husband's funeral as the event of the century. Merch, hats.
We have 50,000 plus hat orders.
Nobody knows why she's out there in a glittering pantsuit in a recreated tent that her husband tragically was murdered in, throwing merch out.
Everyone believes differently, so if someone's acting weird, don't read into that.
Zionists, the Prime Minister of Israel, all lied through their teeth about Charlie Kirk.
Her operation was in Constanta, the epicenter of Romania's trafficking scandal.
We are conversations to have with a 15-year-old. I'm going to touch your butt. $8.6 million.
And just to note that Amazing Lucas, he is also in on that paid campaign as well. Okay, because when you go into his members only channel or members only, he pretty much he goes in and pretty much goes in on certain talking points of the narrative of following that she's a demon. Okay, now I'm gonna show you another person. Okay, that's also involved as being a controlled opposition is Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is the former deputy of the FBI. Okay, who just recently stepped down and went back to podcasting. Okay, so prior to him being deputy director of the FBI, he was a podcaster that was all mega, and this is what's happening now. A lot of these people that were mega, okay, they pretty much form more the lines of more like a libertarian, so to speak. Okay, libertarians pretty much people that are pretty much conservative though, but they're questioning any type of leadership of what the Republican Party brings to the table. So they don't pretty much put their hat in the ring. One person per se is person like David Smith. David Smith, another comedian like Jimmy Dore, that goes into politics that's pretty much speak truth. Okay? Now, if anybody's going to pretty much snuff out anything of anybody being of a fake or controlled would be Jimmy Dore. Okay? Jimmy Dore's platform is solid. Okay? And he calls it as he sees it. Okay, he doesn't pull no punches. You see, all right. But let's continue.
To their own shell company. What is going on?
Nothing to hide. My aunt used to tell me never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.